Hello and welcome to another episode of Gaming Reviews. This week I'm taking a look at Flee the Fallen. As always, a massive thank you to the team at Game.Press and the developers AM Playhouse for sending us a key to review. The game dropped on Steam on the 1st of December and at time of recording is priced at $7.49. I played on a Steam Deck and again at the moment the Steam page says it's unsupported, but I didn't run into any issues and played it perfectly on the LCD version of the Steam Deck. So what is Flee the Fallen? It's a 2D side-scrolling zombie survival / action platformer. You'll get guns, knives, grenades, the usual zombie slaying gear, and your main job is ultimately to get the zombies before they get you. Hit the level objective, move on to the next stage. Something to call out here early on is I've seen online it being called a Metroidvania. It's not. Sure, there's a couple of levels that you have to backtrack for a key or an item, but there's no ability gated zones, well not any that I've come across, and you never really return to previous areas, so you know it's got that vibe but it's not quite. Story wise is pretty light, but honestly does that matter for this type of game? Let's find out. Control wise, the game handles really well. The main controls break down quite simply. The left stick will move your character, right trigger and X will aim and shoot, X is melee, A is jump and Y is roll. Nice and simple, responsive and easy to get into. So how does it play? There are two game modes. The first I'll tackle is the story mode. Each level puts you on a simple map with different paths. The map is basically a bunch of rectangular lanes linked together. Doesn't get much more detailed than that. It won't show you things like locked doors or key items. You can't mark anything on there. But honestly, the levels are linear enough that you'll remember where everything is, mostly. Every level has a goal. That might be to open a barn door, but you'll need to find something to unlock the chain on it. It might be to enter the police station, but you've got to grab the key that will let you in first, find dynamite to remove a blocked tunnel, etc. On your way, of course, you'll bump into a lot of zombies, some unarmed, some with melee weapons, some with guns. The most sensible plan is conserving ammo by meleeing the unarmed ones. And the cool little thing is if you stun a zombie, so if you shoot it from distance, it's stunned, you'll sometimes get a little prompt, but if you see it lurch forward, get in close, press the X button, and boom, a nice slow motion kick or knee to finish them off. You get a couple of gauges to watch out for. So you've got your health, which is self-explanatory, and you'll also get an energy bar. So if you roll or jump or swing your melee weapon, that will deplete the bar a bit. Obviously, if you've depleted it and you try to pull off a melee attack, you're going to find it's not going to work until it's generated a little bit. Whilst the game is fairly simple, there's enough differentiation of enemy types to keep the game interesting. You'll run into mini bosses and some bigger bosses. They're straightforward, but still fun to figure out the tactic needed for them. The game does also try to mix things up a little bit. So there'll be a couple of quick time events, a couple of minor puzzles, such as the classic use switches to illuminate a set of bulbs. Again, nothing extraordinary, but nice to see it trying to mix things up now and then. As you progress through the game, there'll be a number of weapons you could collect, health packs, key items, etc. As mentioned, there is a story mode. It's bare bones. You'll get some cutscenes at certain points in the game, but these are static comic page style interludes. The other game mode is the arcade mode. I only spent a brief time on this, but it's a series of challenges. You'll be placed in a scene from the main game. You'll be given a time limit, a target of zombies to kill. Do this and you'll move on to the next stage. Graphically, for an indie game at this price, Flee the Fallen I think looks really good. Yep, it's 2D, but the visuals are sharp, colourful and have a cartoony look. It doesn't scream horror, but it still works, and as mentioned there's a variety in the enemies and levels. The sound is a mixed bag. Sound effects are solid. You'll get your gun sounds, the melee weapons deliver a satisfying thud, and when you upgrade from a wooden bat to a metal pipe, you'll get that metallic clunk. The music, whilst the music isn't bad, it's very, very repetitive. So if you're the kind of person who notices or gets annoyed by looping tracks, this will probably annoy you after a little bit of time. So what's good? Graphics, as mentioned, clean, colourful and detailed enough to make each area feel different. The weapons, you get plenty of these. Handgun, revolver, melee weapons, machine guns, grenades, etc. So there's some variety in the firepower you're given. As mentioned, the stamina system gives you a little bit of, and I'll use the term strategy loosely, but it's something else to figure about. So if you're rolling around or jumping around merrily and then you come into a group of zombies, you're going to be in trouble. And the arcade mode is a nice bonus. So, you get a couple of game modes for a fairly decent price. So what's not so good? As mentioned, the map, it works fine, but it would have been nice to have had a little bit more detail. There's a couple of levels later on where you've got to get a certain key card to let you into a room, and that particular area of the game does look fairly similar. So it would have been nice to have been able to mark a couple of locations. The music, I've already said, it loops a lot. Platforming, at a certain point in the game, you'll get some platforming bits show up. And again, they're okay, but I died a few times just because the graphics either wasn't clear that there was going to be a drop, or it was just a little bit fiddly. But again, you get over it and it's not a barrier to progression. And the story, it's not a game you're going to come to for the story. So, final thoughts. I really enjoyed my time with Flee the Fallen. I've not quite finished it yet, but I will do. It's got charm, it's got that cartoony horror vibe, and it's a solid zombie survival indie game. It's not doing anything extraordinary, but what it does well. At the asking price and for the game modes given, I think there's value to be found. So if you like your indie horror or zombie games, you don't mind linear progression, and you enjoy your tense combat more than open exploration, this game could be right up your alley.